Welcome to Middle Math Academy, Dividing Decimals level number 4. This is part of our differentiated series where we have 5 levels of challenge for every topic. Let's get started. Our learning targets today are I can divide decimals and whole numbers, and I can divide numbers when the divisor is a power of 10. You're going to rate yourself before the lesson. How confident do you feel in our learning targets? 1 is the least confident, and 5 is the most confident. At the end of the lesson today, we'll rate ourselves again to see how confident we are after we've gotten some more practice. Let's look at our opening note. Make sure you're writing with me. If you are dividing by a power of 10, you can count how many zeros there are, then move the decimal in the divisor the same amount of spaces. Let's practice with some examples. Let's take a closer look at our first opening problem. We know we're dividing by a power of 10 if our divisor ends in zeros. So whenever our divisor ends in zeros, we can count how many zeros there are. There's 2 in this case. Then we can simply rewrite our dividend exactly how it was written. And if there's no decimal, you just start with your decimal at the end of your number and move your decimal to the left, however many zeros there are. So we have 2 zeros, so I'll move my decimal back 1, 2. And our answer is 785 and 1600ths. Complete the next 2 opening problems on your own, then come back to the video to check your work. Here's a neater look at the first opening problem we did together. Let's check the second problem. Check your work for our second opening problem. Now let's check our third opening problem. Check your work, come back to the video when you're ready for our notes. Our notes are going to be really helpful today. If you need any help, you can always refer back to these. So we'll take all of our notes and then we'll practice with some more examples. So our first note is, if the divisor is a decimal, move the decimal point to the right until it's a whole number. Note number 2, move the decimal point in the dividend, the number being divided, the same number of places to the right. Add zeros if needed. So if you're moving your number to the right and there's nothing there, you can add a 0. Then we're going to place our decimal point directly above the new location of the decimal point in the dividend. So directly above the house. Don't forget, we're going to practice this in our examples. It's something we can refer back to for now. Note number 4, then we're just going to treat it like long division. So we're going to continue the long division process as we normally would, bringing down zeros if we have a remainder. Okay, and like I said, we'll go over that in our examples. So our normal long division process is we're going to divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then repeat. Pause the video, make sure you have these notes down, then we'll get started with some examples. Because this is level number 4, this video is going to move pretty quick, so make sure to pause as you need to. And if you're finding this video too challenging, make sure to check out level number 1, which is just long division, or levels 2 and 3, which guide you through the steps a little bit more. Let's take a look at example A on page 1. Dividing decimals is super similar to long division, except we have an initial first step that we need to do, which is to make our second number in our division expression, 0.02. Whatever that number is, we need to make sure it's a whole number. So to make 0.02 a whole number, I can move the decimal forward 2 spots, and then it becomes 2. Make sure you're writing with me. I'll bring down my division sign, and if I move my decimal forward 2 spots in my divisor, I need to do the same thing in the dividend. So that means 6.217 becomes 621.7. Now remember, your dividend, your first number, goes inside the house. You should have a pinky's worth of space between each number. And your divisor goes on the outside of the house. Your numbers should not be close to one another. They should not be touching. Go ahead and finish solving this problem, then come back to the video. The next step you should have done is to take the decimal point from inside of the house and put it right on top of the house right here. 2 fits into 6 3 times. You subtract and bring down. Now the new number we're focusing on is 2. 2 fits into 2 1 time. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract, bring down. Now the new number is 1. 2 can't fit into 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 0. 2 times 0 is 0. Subtract, bring down. Now our new number is 17. 2 fits into 17 8 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Now we have a remainder of 1. Remember, if there's a remainder and there's no numbers left to bring down, what we can do is add a 0. You may need to extend your house a little bit. And then we can bring down the 0. So now our new number is 10. And 2 fits into 10 5 times. Let me show you a neater look at this. Pause the video, make sure you have this down, then complete example B and come back to the video to check your work. For example B, we have 1835 divided by 5. There's no decimal in 5, so no need to move the decimal. So you can set up your problem like this. And if you haven't solved yet, go ahead and do so. And let's check our work for how you solved. Pause the video, check your work. Once you're finished checking your work, make sure to pause the video and check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. Come back to the video when you're ready for page 2. On page 2, complete problems A, B, C, and D. Pause the video, come back to the video when you're ready to check your work. Pause the video, check your work for problem A. Check your work for problem B. Check your work for problem C. And check your work for problem D. Complete the rest of page 2, then check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. On page 3, we're going to start off pausing the video and completing problems A, B, and F. So complete these 3 problems, then come back to the video to check your work. Check your work for problem A. This video will not go over problem B, but let's take a look at problem F. On problem F, we know we need to make our divisor 0.002 a whole number. So we need to move our decimal forward 3 spots and we'll get 2. Okay, so if we moved it 3 spots in our divisor, we have to do the same thing for our dividend. So we have 1, 2, but you can see on my third loop, I have no number to go past. So if you have no number there, we're going to add a 0. So now our new problem is 96,300 divided by 2. Here's what it should look like in the house. If it wasn't set up like this before, go ahead and do so now. Pause the video and solve. Go ahead and check your work for problem F. Complete the rest of page 3, then check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. On page 4, complete problems A, C, and E. Pause the video, come back to the video when you're ready to check your work. Pause the video, check your work for problem A. Pause the video and check your work for problem C. Check your work on problem E. Notice that our divisor, we had to move our decimal forward 3 spots. And because when we move it over 3 spots in our dividend, there's no numbers there. That's why we had to add zeros. Pause the video, check your work. Complete the rest of page 4, then check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. On page 5, complete problems A through F. We're only going to check one of them. Come back to the video whenever you're finished page 5. Check your work for problem D. Once you're finished page 5, check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. Come back to the video when you're ready for page 6. Complete all of page 6. Come back to the video when you're ready to check your work. Check your work for our common misconception problem. This is the only problem we'll go over on page 6. And don't forget to answer our debrief questions. In your own words, what did you learn today? How much effort did you put in during class? And what do you think is a common misconception or a common mistake students might make when dividing decimals or dividing powers of 10? Once you've finished answering all of the questions on page 6, you're going to go back to page 1. At the beginning of today's lesson, we rated ourselves 1 through 5 on our learning targets. Now that we've gotten some more practice, you're going to rate yourself again on our learning targets next to the section that says after the lesson. So finish page 6, rate yourself on page 1, And then once you're finished, both of those things, check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. Thank you for joining us today at Middle Math Academy, where we practice dividing decimals level number 4. This is part of our differentiated series where we have 5 levels of challenge for every topic. If you're looking for any additional practice, make sure to check out level 1, which focuses just on long division, level 2, level 3, or our most challenging level, level number 5. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.